Equations and Inequalities. It's a challenge exercise from Maths in Focus. Now there are 15 questions, so I might have a break halfway through and they come back. First question, find the value of y if a to the power of 3y minus 5 equals 1 over a squared. So we need to find the value of y. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. First thing first, I want to make this whole thing in the similar term. So I'm going to go a to the power of 3y minus 5 equals a to the power of negative 2, because 1 over something is negative power. Okay, now since I've got the same base, all I have to worry about is the powers. So 3y minus 5 equals minus 2, 3y equals, if I plus 5 plus 5, 3, therefore my y equals 1. Done, simple. Okay, question 2 is the extension question, but that's not, it's okay for advanced people to have a look at it and just have a guess and see whether you could do this question. So let's have a look. I'm going to move this one to the other side. There you go. And that looks like a difference of 2 squares, doesn't it? So I'm going to go like that. Now this is parabola, concave up, and I'm just going to sketch this, and that's x, and that's my critical points are minus a, and this is less than 0, not equal to, so it's all open. Now it's bigger than 0 actually, so it's going to be above here. Okay, so what I've got is all the here part or this part, because if it's less than 0, it'd be all this part would be this x values here, but if it's above, this x values. So for this one, x is less than minus a. For this part, x is bigger than a. So my answer is this. Excellent. Okay, next one. The solutions of x squared minus 6x minus 3 equals 0 are in the form of that. And then we have to find the value of a and b. Okay, so let's have a look. So I can't really factorize this normally, because what's the factors of 3? It's 1 and 3. And there's no way I'm going to get 6 from it. So only way I can do is quadratic formula. So hopefully you remember quadratic formula. I'll just write it down. 4ac over 2a. Okay, so let's do this one. So I'm going to write ABC so that I can put that into this formula. A is 1, B is minus 6, C is minus 3. Okay, so I'm going to put it all that in. X equals minus 6 plus minus 6 squared minus 4 A C 2 times 1, and I'll get 6 plus minus 36 plus 12 over 2, 6 plus minus 48 over 2, and 48. 48, I can make it simple. You need to think of factors with a square number in it. So if I do 2 times 24, well, 24 is not really a square number. Let's start with maybe 3. 3 times what makes 48? 16. Yes, voila, that's the one that we want. So that becomes 48 is like 3 times 16, which is that it's a 4 squared, like that. So I'm going to replace this one with 6 plus minus 4 root 3 over 2, and I can cancel this. Now you can't cancel by itself, but if it's a common factor, you can cancel. So I'm going to take 2 out as a common factor. Then I can cancel this. So I'm left with 3 plus minus 2 root 3. Now this one needs to be equated. 3 plus minus 2 root 3 need to be equating with this. So I've got root 3, excellent. So my answer, A should be 3 and B should be plus minus 2. Okay, so that's what I've got. Excellent. Now next one, question 4. All right. Let's have a question 4. Now this is extension as well, because I highlight orange color for extension. Well, that's not too bad. Okay. Okay, so when you see the fraction, you should feel very uncomfortable. So your urge to get rid of a fraction. So how are we going to get rid of the fraction here? Simple. I'm just going to times by all this product of the two denominators. Okay, so I'm going to do times by x minus 1, x plus 1 on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So when I do that, I'm left with minus x minus 1, x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, that's what I've got. And I'm going to expand this one. Be careful with the sign. Now this one is a difference of 2 squares, so I'm going to put that in like that. And I'm going to put all this into the other side to make everything in a standard form equal to 0. But before I do that, I'll get tied up. So I'm going to move this one as my left hand side. Okay, minus x minus 3 equals 0. I'll move this whole thing on the other side. Now, tied it up. Excellent. Now, we can't factorize this normally, because factors of 4 is not going to give us 1. So, quadratic. Be minus 1 plus minus 1 squared minus 4ac 2a. Okay, so when I do that, 1 plus minus 17 over 2. So my x is 1 plus root 17 over 2, or my x is 1 minus root 17 over 2. Okay, and put that in the calculator. I will get 2.56 as a 3 significant figures, so 1, 2, 3. And that will be minus 1.56. So that's my answers. Okay, excellent. Next one. Okay, so it's extension 1 again. Now, do you remember when we have a fraction, there's always something special about it, which is y cannot be 0, because we can't divide it by 0. And then we have to times by square of the denominator, so that we keep the same sign, inequality sign. Otherwise, if we times by y, we don't know why it's going to be negative or positive. If it's a negative, it will change the sign. So we can't really risk that. So we're doing y squared. So if I do that, I will get like that. Okay, and then I'm going to move this one. Okay, so, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand, hang on a minute, let's see if I can do the, I'm going to take the 2 out. Ooh, I'm going to move this one. I thought it's going to be a little bit easier, but it's I'm pressuring you to think more. I'm going to swap this around, okay? So that will give me another minus. I hope you understood what I've done. I just swapped this around, so the negative goes out here, and that's gone. So when I put it back, it'll be the same, okay? So now what I've got is 2y. And then what I've got is and I'm going to take the y out. Okay, so I've done it a little bit quicker. I didn't plan this, but when I saw that was like 1 and 3, and this is 1 and 3 sort of, and then I took it out, and it worked out okay. Hopefully you'll catch up with all that. Now, my critical point will be 0, 3, minus 2. But remember, 0 can't be part of it. So that's going to be my open circle there. So this is what the cubic, and it's going up. Okay, so I'm going to go like that and put all my critical points there. And then what was it? 0 is not included. I'll use a different color. Not included, but the other 2 are included. There. And then it's less than 0, so it's all going to be on the bottom of the x-axis. And what are they? The bottom ones are these x values and these x values. So my answer will be y is less than or equal to minus 2 and 0, y 3. So y is in bigger than 0 but less than or equal to 3. So that's what my answer is. Excellent. So next one, question 6. Okay, factorize. Cover that. There's 2 parts in there, and I'm factorizing first. Okay, so I've got 4 terms here, and it looks like it's going to be by grouping, because if I take the 8 as common factor out, it'll be 1 and 9, 1 and 9. Nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take x cubed out, left with x squared minus 9, and I'm going to take minus 8 out, minus 9. So what I got is x squared minus 9 as a common factor, x cubed minus 8 there. Okay, so, but that's not all, because that's the difference of 2 squares. We can go a bit further. Okay, so this one, it looks like difference of 2 cubes. We don't no longer use that, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. So that's my answer. Part B. Hence or otherwise solve this. Now, when it says hence, guys, always think of it as about 99%. You'll have to refer to what you've done in the previous part. So that I can change this one into the one that we got. That's exactly the same as the previous one. So solve it. So that means solve for x values. So this really means one of them should be 0, but we don't know which one. 0, or could be 0, or could be 0. Okay, so that will be my answer will be, therefore x has to be 3 and x equals 3. Now this one is what, x cubed equals 8, x cubed equals 2 cubed, therefore x equals 2. So that's my answer. Okay, so that's question 6. We're going to question 7. All right, so question 7 now. Solve the simultaneous equations. So I'm going to call this as 1, 2. Now they both were in the y equals something, y equals, so I can say 1 equals 2. So I can go plus x squared, x plus 1. Okay, so, and then I'm going to move this one to everything on this side. 0. Okay, so that's not too bad. And I'm going to factorize by grouping. So I'm taking x squared out. 1 minus, I'm taking minus out. Excellent. So my common factor is x plus 1. X squared minus 1 equals 0. And I can expand this one because it's difference of 2 squares. X minus 1, and I can put it together, square x minus 1 equals 0. So that means x equals minus 1 or 1. Okay, so now I need to find when x equals minus 1, what's y value. So I'm going to substitute x equals minus 1 into one of them. But oh, you can't see one of them. So I'm going to use 2 because it looks simpler. So y equals minus 1 plus 1 equals 0. So when x equals minus 1, y equals 0. When x equals 1, I'm going to substitute x equals 1 into 2. So y equals 1 plus 1 equals 2. Therefore y equals 2. So my final answer is when x equals minus 1, y is 0. When x equals 1, y equals 2. Ooh, it will help if you can see them. Okay, so that's my final answer. Okay, question 8. Find the value of b if x squared minus 8x plus b is a perfect square. Hence solve x squared minus 8x minus 1 equals 0 by completing the square. Now there is a video that I've just done for completing the square, so you want to have a look at it. If you don't remember, that will be helpful. Okay, so let's have a look. Is a perfect square. Need to be perfect square. So we need to find the b. So find b, and then we hence solve this by completing the square. So with this, we need to think about, there's a rule for completing the square there. The last term is the square of the half of coefficient of the x. So this will be half of 8 squared. So which is 4 squared, which is 16. So therefore b equals 16. Okay, so that's done. Now we have to solve this. Now, solving the accompanying square, first step is I'm going to move the constant to the other side. Yeah, it'd be really helpful if you can watch the completing the square video. And then I'm going to do this complete perfect square here. I need a 16, so I'm going to do 16 here, and I'm going to do 16 here. So what happened here is I'm just adding on the left hand side. I'm going to do the same thing, adding on the right hand side, so that equation is balanced. So that is my perfect square. Oops, minus, because that's minus 4 square equals 17. Okay, so then what I'm going to have to do, solve it. I want x equals something, so x minus 4 equals plus minus square root of 17. Minus 4, I want to get rid of it, so plus 4 plus 4, x equals 4 plus minus 17. There you go, that's what I've got. So just be careful, half of coefficient of x and square it is the last term, okay, which is 4 squared is 16. Okay, so question 9. Now this video is going to be quite a long one, so pause it, have a break, come back if you want. Now question 9, I think I've done this in a previous video somewhere, but I'm going to do it again. So using the definition of absolute value, what's the absolute value definition? Will be equals plus minus a, okay, and solve this where x cannot be 3 because you can't divide it by 0. Now what happens here is this, we can rewrite it like this. So we got two cases here. First one was a positive, second one is negative. So I'm going to go when it's positive, and what happens if it's a negative. Okay, so those are two cases. So I'm going to continue with that. So I'm going to times this together. Let's see if I can do this together at the same time. Okay, so that's what I got, and I'm going to expand this one. I'm going to expand this one, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this one to here. So what happens now is minus 3x plus x squared equals 0. I'm going to do the same, so minus x plus 3 minus 3x plus x squared equals 0. And then I'm going to tidy it up, x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0, x squared minus 4x plus 3 equals 0. So I've got that so far, and I can factorize this. It's monic too, so x, the factor of 3 is that. Okay, I'm ready to go now. Set. So it's a negative, so it'll be negative plus. It's a negative of plus. Only way we can do is negative. So my answer is x equals minus 1 or 3, x equals 1 and 3. But x cannot be 3, so I can't count that one. So I've got x equals minus 1, x equals 1. But I need to check whether that's satisfying with the equation. So I need to check that. I'm going to use blue. So check when x equals minus 1. I'm going to put it in to the equation. Now it needs to be left-hand side equals right-hand side. Okay, so I'm going to put minus 1 in there carefully. And this has to be minus 1. Okay, let's see if it does. That's minus 4. 3 plus 1, 4. Now, already I can tell it's impossible because that whole thing's going to be positive and that's negative. That's not going to happen. So that's no good because it's going to be 1 equals minus 1 in the end, but that's not true. So let's see when x equals 1. So that's formula we have to use. So I'm going to substitute it in there. 1 minus 3. 3 minus 1 equals 1. So here becomes minus 2. 2, yes, looks good. So that'd be 2 over 2 equals 1, which is 1 equals 1. Excellent. So my final answer is x equals 1 only. That's my final answer. Okay, nothing else. Next one, 10, question 10. So solve, so it's extension 1. And let's have a look. This is not bad. Let's have a look. I'm going to expand this one. X squared. The middle part is plusing it, so it'll be 5x. The third part is, last part is timesing it. That's what I got. 28. And I'm going to move this. Minus 28. So what would that be? I can factorize this. 24. What's the factors of 24? 1, 24 is not going to give me 5. 2 and 12 is not going to give me 5. 3 and 8, yes. That will give me somehow 5. Minus 5, so it'll be something like that. So I'm going to go plus 3 minus 8. Now, this is a parabola, okay? So parabola, my critical point is minus 3 and 8. And they're both included because it says equal to, and it's less than 0, less than 0, so it's all down here. So it's all these x values. So to be minus 3, x is less than minus 3 or equal to minus 3. Okay, so x is bigger than or equal to minus 3, but less than or equal to 8. Okay, that's done. Next one, solve. This is a quite nice one because it's not easy. It's a bit tricky. Now this is what? 1 over 2 to the power of 3. So I can write it 2 to the minus 3. So that has to be same, yeah? So I'm gonna think about this. So if I put some power, and it has to be like that, okay? So instead of x, I'm replacing x with this. That's my x, okay? Somehow I need to have the same base, and I need this power here. So I'm just gonna deal with the power only. So that'll be, okay, so that's, I'm just taking the powers out and then I'm going to deal with it. So that is times flip over will be minus 2. So what I've got here is 2 to power of 2, 3 over 2 equals 2 minus 3. Well, it is. If you think about it, if you times it, you get that. So therefore, your x, because solve for x. So this is my x, okay? The x equals, which is 1 over 4. So x is 1 over 4, okay? 12. I'm going to push a little bit and see if I can finish it off to 15. This is going to be a long video, but we will see. Find solutions of that by completing the square. Okay, so I'm going to go different color. 2ax minus b equals 0. X squared minus 2ax equals b. I'm going to move that one to the other side. And remember, it's going to be half of the coefficient of x squared. So I'm going to add this as well. So what I got here is plus a squared, b plus a squared. Now that is my perfect square. And then x minus a, I don't need that, plus minus, I'm going to put a squared plus b, and plus a, so x equals a plus minus. That's what I got. Okay, so make sure you don't take that out. It stays the same. Now, question 13 is extension 1. I think I've done this one before, but I'm going to do it again. Now, this is a fraction part, an inequality. So what is it? 3y minus 2 cannot be 0 because we can't divide it by 0. And that'd be 2. So make sure y cannot be 2 over 3. So I'm going to times by the square of the denominator so that we keep the same sign. So if I do that, I'm left with just one of them, y, like that. And then I'm going to move this one to the other side, minus, like that. Now, what is a common factor? Do not expand this, minus, make sure you pause it and have a break and come back if you need to. So I've got that, and here I get 3y squared minus 2y plus 5y minus 2. So I'll get left with 3y minus 2 there. And I'm going to factorize this. How am I going to do that? I'm going to times this together with minus 4. Now, what's the factor's going to give me 3? Be 1 and 4 plus minus. So 3y minus 2, 2y squared. I'm going to go minus or plus 4y minus y minus 2. I didn't change anything. I just split the 3y into 4y minus y. And 3y minus 2. I'm going to do factorize by grouping and taking 2y out. I'll get y plus 2. And I'm taking minus out, y plus 2. So what I got? 3y minus 2. And I got y plus 2 as common factor. Left with 2y minus 1. Okay, now that's what I got. And that's cubic with the critical points it's going to be y equals 2 over 3, y equals minus 2, y equals half. But remember, at the beginning, this can't be. So this cannot be. This is going to be open circle. Okay? So it's going to be like that. That's x. And I'm going to put all my critical points there. So that's going to be minus 2. Now, which one's is half, which one's 2 over 3? 2 over 3 is bigger than half, because what's half of 3? It's 1.5. It's already 2. It's bigger than half. So 2 over 3, half. And then what I've got is that's open, that's closed, that's closed. Okay? And the question says it's less than 0. So it's all going to be on the bottom of here. So my answer will be this part and that part. So it'll be y is less than equal to minus 2, or y is bigger than equal to half, but less than 2 over 3. Excellent. Make sure you get just less than, not equal to. Okay. So question 14, second last one. Woohoo! It's going to be a pretty long one, but I think you're doing great. Question 14. Solve that and write the solution in the simplest surd form. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to rewrite this. Equals 8, 2x minus 1. I'm going to put it all in one side. 0. And I'm going to expand this one. 16x plus 8 equals 0. Now, I can't do this one. 1, 3 and 2, 4 or 1, 8. It's not going to give me 16, so I'm going to use quadratic formula. By the way, if you can't think of it quick enough in the exam, during the exam, just use quadratic formula if you need to, because it doesn't really matter. It'll end up same anyway. So it'll be minus 16. Minus 16 squared. 4, 3, 8, 2, 3. $256, 96, 6, 160, 6. Now with this, I can see already 16 times 10, because this 16 is a square number. So 160, I can say 4 root 10, because that's 4 squared times 10. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there as a 16 plus minus 4 root 10, 6. And if I take 2 out, oops, 6. So it would be 8 plus minus 3. Okay, so that's what I got. And my x equals 8 plus root 2 root 10, or 2 root 10. Okay, so that's what I got. Or if you want, if you have urge to factorize, only if you want to, that's okay too. Okay, woohoo! Last one. Yes, finally. We're getting there, we're getting there. Okay, so last one. Again, absolute value, remember? Plus minus a. So there'll be 2 cases. So because I'm just going to write it this. 5 minus x 2x minus 1 equals 5 minus x. And here, so I'm going to do 2 all at once. So what I'm going to do, 2x minus 1, I'm going to bring everything on one side. I'm going to bring everything on one side. So here I've got 3x minus 6 equals 0. I get minus x minus 4. So 3x equals 6, x equals 2. And I'm just going to move that one to the other. So x equals minus 4. Excellent. So that's what I got. Now, that's not all. We have to check, okay? Check. When I say check, just, you know, it means left-hand side equals right-hand side. So I'm going to use a formula I had from the beginning. So when x equals 2, so I'm going to put that in as 2 minus 1 equals 5 minus 2. So make sure the left-hand side equals right-hand side. So that's 4 minus 1, 3, 3, 3. Voila, that's good. And when x equals minus 4, I'm going to put that in this formula. 2 minus 4 minus 1, 5 minus 4. So that's minus 8 minus 1, 5 plus 4, minus 9, 9, 9, 9. So therefore, x equals 2 or minus 4. They're both all good. Excellent. Well done, people. Well done.